Let's see. Oh my goodness, Jennifer Lacey, what are you
Good morning, how are you? We already we just pushed the button and we got Kirby Coates saying good morning. It's already going to be a good day.
Kirby Coates, what's up, Kirby? She is here. So you know what that means is we got to do good today because Kirby's.
True. Yes.
All right. So what are we talking about, Jen? Let's
questions. It's about questions. Let's just say we'll start with that. We're going to get into it a little bit more. It came from conversations from emotional bungee jumpers, and then we have culture. We do some things that help people grow and learn new skills. And in those conversations, for people that have been doing it for 2 or 3 years now, our bar is so high that we're digging in more and really helping people level up. And with that, they can't just check boxes anymore. We kind of call them out on certain things, or we ask them, oh, wait a minute, what's this? And that's where this conversation came on. When you're trying to help people and you're trying to connect to people, your questions really can direct and guide where it ends up. And are you doing it intentionally?
Yeah. Awesome. And I want to add another, the points about it that kind of, me, that I get militant about is I'm going to say, I would just assume broadly that a lot of people practice the philosophy of make them think it's their idea and leading people down a path with their questions.
Yes.
That's okay, right? That's like middle school, maybe JV level of asking questions. And so what brought this up is this dude right here. Boots, 2 days in a row, baby. We've been practicing on emotional bungee jumpers how to ask open-ended questions, which technically is easy, right? You just put a what, a who, a how in front of the question or the statement that you would typically make, and it becomes an open-ended question. However, you can still ask an open-ended question and it costs you connecting with the person in front of you. Mm-hmm. And so I also want to throw another filter out there, is because a lot of people in the jumpers, right? There's always this kind of defense about closed-ended questions are good. Closed-ended, yes, yes, they are. And there's an appropriate time for them. Mm-hmm. And so these type of curious, people-centered questions is about adding that tool into somebody's toolbox.
Yes.
Not to say all the other style of questioning is wrong. Mm-hmm. It's just to say hey, you've been playing the same game with the same tennis shoes. Here's a new pair of shoes so you can maybe amplify your game a little bit. And I also know that the type, here's the value point, is the type of questions. When I want to be connected in a very meaningful way with the person in front of me, the questions that I ask will shape that.
Yep.
And if the questions are about me, I'm going to disconnect the person.
Yes.
When my questions are about you, we are going to be super connected. And that's the thing I want to, hopefully, I'm going to try like hell to serve people up so they understand the difference and do some self-analysis of ooh, I really need to think about it. Because it is the only way you're going to make any progress on it is by getting introspective about the intent and motive, not an intent, but the motives of your questions.
And it's a learned behavior, Jesse. I want to be clear on that. We're going to talk about some really cool things today. And I know for me, I have been through these exercises going on 4 years, 3 years constantly of learning and then getting feedback and then adjusting and getting, so it's a learned behavior. Even if I just need to not do this. Yes. And there's going to be things that, depending on the person that's across from you, depending on your relationship with that person, depending on if they're in need or if you're in need, all the variables will play into that, that humble inquiry and all the different things that we're going to talk about today. And there's not just let me just make sure I check these boxes and then I'm doing exactly what I need to do.
Yes. Oh man. All right. So we're going to nerd out on questions. And
Yes.
if you want to elevate your game in connecting with people, you're going to want to listen to this.
Yes.
If you just want people to do what you want them to do, go watch another video. So
Right.
before we get into it, Jen, we got to do some housekeeping.
Yes, we do. Okay. So a couple of things is one, if you're out there, let us know. Okay. So we want to know, tell us good morning, tell us where you're coming from. I'm just going to say that. But also, if you have been listening to us or you're just coming across our feed right now and you're like, what are these two knuckleheads talking about? Or who are they? And so this is your first time engaging with us. We ask you, please, just to put a blue heart in the comment. You don't have to put any text or anything else, but it lets us know you're there because we won't know unless you comment that you're out there and you're watching and you're listening. Because the blue heart lets us know so we can shine a light on you and recognize you and thank you for being here. But it also lets our No BS tribe, hey, we got a new member. And so they will connect with you, follow your content, engage with you as well. And it's not just on the live this morning, it's in the replay, and these live once we end the live, like it's out there. So everyone gets to watch it again and again. And so if we get to recognize you, other people get to see that you're part of this tribe and stuff like that. So we just ask that you please put a blue heart or put more if you want to. And then that will also put you in the randomizer. Jesse, tell them about that.
The randomizer. And so if you do like the ultra awesome Miss Kirby Codes and the ultra awesome Mr. Adam Hooch, drop a comment in the chat, that is going to get you into the randomizer. And so what that means is you'll be put into a raffle at the top of the hour that'll will do the thing. And if your name gets selected, that will get you a 1 month free pass to Emotional Bungee Jumpers and Cultivation Crew. And actually, we got because of me, I didn't schedule the Cultivation Crew thing. So the winners from last live stream and this live stream are going to be able to be present or contribute into the kickoff of having hard conversations, because that's the next topic we're tackling in the Cultivation Crew. So anyways, you got to get your name in the hat, just like Miss Sarah did. Sarah, good morning.
And Sarah, I hope you're feeling better. I know you've been a little under the weather, so I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, Sarah's. I got to talk to her. She's doing really well because I had to give her all my excuses for not freaking scheduling the thing. Okay, so let's get into this bad boy, Jen.
Okay.
We talked about kind of the origin of this topic. Are your questions costing you connection? And I want to I'll put one word or maybe two words, two frames, labels for people. Investigative questions and curious questions. Yes. That's where I'm coming from. Curious questions are about me being interested in the human being in front of me. I'm just curious about what, why, like, where is this? I just want to understand more. Like, for real, want to understand more. Investigative is what are the facts, what are the data, what are the details? And there's not a lot of connection with the investigative questions, right? At least that's my argument. But first question to the group in the Omniverse is, if curiosity had a speed limit at work, how fast are you usually driving? So Jen, I'm just going to throw you under the bus because that was your question. Like, can you give some context for people that maybe that's a little too flowery for them?
Yes, I can. So one, I think I was doing this not intentionally earlier in my career, just because I was learning. So I was like always asking questions because I wanted to get all the knowledge and suck all the knowledge out of the people that I was around. So I was always like, what about this? What is this? Tell me about this, whatever. So those were a lot of the things I did all the time, nonstop. Like I just was doing that to the point to where I don't know if they were excited about it, but they knew when I was coming in that I wasn't just going to sit back and just observe and pay attention. Like I was really wanting to know what was going on. Now it's really cool because I've set the stage. So now when I'm like, hey, I'm going to come to your job site, I'm going to visit, I'm going to come do this, I'm going to be in the office, they're like, hey, I have this idea. hey, can you help me? Can you look at this and give me your thoughts on this? Or like, so because of those questions and really learning and asking, and they know that I care about what they're doing. Now they have things that they're like not sure how to make them work or how to make them happen. And now, hey, Jennifer, because of you and what you do and who you are, like, can you help me make this work? And so for me, it's all the time. Sometimes they'll like, I can see ones that like hide in their office because they know I'm coming and they like, oh gosh, more things. But it has laid the groundwork for me to be able to get people excited and know I want to serve them and I want to help them grow. And if I can contribute to that or maybe give them my ideas and kind of help them morph it a little bit, the people that want to grow and want to evolve, they are all in.
Okay. So I got there's a layer there that I want to kind of peel apart. Yeah. When I read the question, right, if curiosity had a speed limit, what I'm thinking about is your level of curiosity. Mm-hmm. Now, what I think I heard or understood from what you just described is you approaching or having a high speed limit of curiosity, you personally has instilled another layer or speed of curiosity for the people around you. Did I get that?
Yes. Well, before I would be the one knocking them down, trying to come through with my speed limit. Like I didn't slow down very much. So I was taking it in and it was for Jennifer. I didn't realize I was creating connection. Probably there was just some of that because of me, but I didn't realize while I was asking the questions and really interested in what they were doing. But internally I was like, I just want to know it because it's going to help me. And so I was doing this very fast, very quickly, but over time, I mean, I'm talking about 6 to 8 years of that constantly. Now that I can bring a little bit of insight now, a little bit more than I could before. Now I'm kind of slow. I'm going to say my curiosity. I don't want to say it's slowed down. It's just a different curiosity now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm going to go. I'm going to keep picking apart. But we got some people in the comments. Trisha, what's going on, sister? How you been?
Good morning.
Merriman, Utah. And then we got Mr. Clyde King. Good morning, Clyde. How you doing, my brother? Oh man,
is Trisha Blue Heart?
What's that? No, Trisha's been here before because she volunteered and tortured herself through the Self-First Time Mastery Workshop.
Nice. Welcome, Trisha.
Yeah, you got it going on. And so Omniverse, you already know. What would you say your speed limit is? Like if curiosity had a speed limit, how fast are you usually driving? And so you talked about you feel like you've slowed down in your curiosity, you personally. What I'm going to say is you haven't slowed down. I think you have sped up. It felt like you were going faster before because you were asking nothing but investigative questions, correct, which were all about your need to gather data and information. Whereas correct, now, which is like machine gun questioning, yes, we have people that do that.
No, you're absolutely like shotgun blast. It was just like it was when I would hear, Jennifer, you're a lot or you're too much. I didn't feel bad about it. It was just that. It was just I was needing to pull all the information. So it was like they were getting everything. Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah. And now your questions are curious about the people.
Yes.
And it feels slower because you ask one question and they articulate their thoughts and response for 5 minutes.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah. Awesome. Yes. And so I think that's an important thing, right? Is, when I'm coaching leaders and they want to get on this path, like, man, I love the way you ask questions. I kind of want to do that. And they're like, okay, like, well, where do I start? Because everybody wants the answers, right? What's the silver bullet? That's okay. Well, I'll give you one easy one that is going to help you understand how much work you have to do. Very simple. Who has the most airtime? Right? By airtime, how many seconds or minutes am I making noise with my mouth? And how many seconds or minutes are they making noise with their mouth? If it's even, I'm missing, I'm losing, right? If I have more airtime than they do, I am really like, I got a lot of work to do. My goal, or one of the indicators of really being interested in people and asking curious questions, is they have all of the airtime, which we've seen in emotional bungee jumpers. When there's a great question that's not, I want to be clear, curious, not focused on getting the damn answer, but really interested in what the person's thinking, experiencing, feeling, whatever, that person goes on for minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And it's like, damn, that was a great question. But when we ask the investigative questions, like, how long ago has it been, or how long has it been since you've done the thing? Oh, 6 months, right? That's investigative, because all we're doing is trying to collect data and information, which doesn't help the person. All that does is help me, which takes us to like a deeper problem. What do you think, Jen? Am I like being too hard?
You're absolutely right. And I'm going to tell you the gauge in my head, because this has been a journey. And so I now can be a lot more cognizant in a room of airtime and who's talking and who's not, because I facilitate a lot of times. And I'm going to tell you an indicator of that you are doing it right is when there's a conversation or there's things going on and someone goes, well, Jesse, what do you think? If someone asks a question like that in the rooms you're in, then you are doing it right, because you're not trying to completely control the conversation and your airtime, and you're like not giving people time to talk, and they want to know what you have to say.
Yes. And so now you're kind of getting into like, what's the culture like, and all of that really good stuff, which is possible, right? But right now, I want to make people like help people say like, look, this is not about the culture and the team. This is about you, fool. This is about you. Like Mr. Clyde, like Clyde says, I agree. I can see that in my work with the apprentices, when they see me showing curiosity, they seem to step up. Absolutely, because you're showing interest in them as a human being. You ever been in a vehicle with Adam Hoots, Jen?
I have.
He's like, well, I thought speed limits were suggestions, recommendations. Yes, I agree 100%. Oh, look, Jared, man, we got some.
Good morning, Jeremy.
I haven't seen you in a bit, my brother. Glad you're here. And we got Adam, who says, I want to know the secret on honing into the person and not the problem. I feel like that's my issue always. Adam, again, thank you. Super. We're going to get some vulnerability points here for this one, because I think that's the fundamental issue. Can I go there for a little bit, Jen?
That was gonna be my question, Jen. What is your speed limit? That was actually, I was gonna bring it right back to you. So go for it.
Yeah. So I would say my speed limit for like curiosity probably matches the rotation of the Earth, because I kind of, it's my default of, I really want to know. I mean, hell, even when I'm on like having calls with potential clients, I find myself like I just want to like, oh, and how's that? And where did that come from? How did that develop? Because I want to understand. And they're like, bro, can you just tell us how much it's going to cost? I'm like, oh yeah, shit, my bad. Let me get there. So my default is to be in this curious space. That being said, I do know how to get into like, okay, let's get investigative, right? And sometimes when I'm asking people like these open-ended questions, and my assertion is this, they just no one's ever really showed interest in them. So think about trades, right? When I'm asking them open-ended questions, a lot of times they're like, what?
Yes.
Because they have never been asked
Never.
a deep question. And I'm not saying that that's exclusive to trades. I'm just using them as an example. But there's a lot of people where I'll have a conversation. They're like, what the bro, like chill out, right? Because most of the time we are asking investigative questions. And I'm going to say, like straight up, it's because it's selfish motive. So back to Adam's question. I want to know the secret on honing into the person and not the problem. I feel like that's my issue. And here's why I say it's selfish. And if you disagree, leave a comment so you can get in the randomizer. But when I'm asking investigative questions and I am focused on the problem, it's because I believe I have more knowledge and wisdom and I have the answer, right? Or yeah, okay, I'll be loose with some people. Maybe it's not strictly that, but I have a need to be recognized as the problem solver because I'm the manager, I'm the boss, or whatever bullshit. And so there's this underlying need to be the savior, which makes it easy for me to focus on the problem so that I can impart my wisdom to the individual and believe that I have helped them. Most of the time I haven't. Does that make sense, Jen?
No, yes, yes, absolutely. Because I need to walk away and feel better that I contributed to this conversation. They could walk away and go, I'm more confused than I was, or that didn't help at all. But I feel better because I feel like that I have contributed and I feel better. I feel better. I'm saying again, yes. I feel better.
Yes, which again is about the so maybe here's again in Jesse Land, this is how it works. If it ain't the same for you, that's okay. When I'm in investigative questioning, it's all about me. It has nothing to do with the person in front of me. And just like you said, I'm gonna, get all the data and intel and say, well, here's what you should do. And I'm going to feel, man, I helped, I coached. Hell, I might even tell my friends, like, man, I told Jan that she should do this thing about that thing 3 months ago and she still ain't doing it. It does not account for Jennifer saying, stupid, that's not the thing. That's not the thing, right? And so back to like talking about Adam's issue, I honestly believe that that's why a lot of us struggle with differentiating between the problem or separating the problem and the human being, because we want to feel like we actually contributed. And so here's an indicator, and I just kind of painted it. If you feel like you have coached people or given them a direction, and then you're questioning why they haven't done what you suggested or advised them to do, that's an indicator that you're freaking focusing on the problem and your stuff is all about you. It's not about that human being. Now, here's another layer that I'm gonna throw out there because we got a lot of comments coming in, is it takes longer, right? You gotta have some patience and disconnect from my need to see immediate results. And so we like closure. We like the feeling of okay, we solved the problem. I gave advice and the problem solved. No, it's not. They still got to go do the thing. And so when I'm operating in this curious question space, really focused on the human being, I almost never get to resolution at the end of the conversation. What I do get to doesn't matter. What's important is the person that I'm interacting with gets some clarity
and feels like they were heard.
And that's it. That's it. Like that's the game. Are they going to get to the solution? Eventually they will. But we want the dopamine hit, the rush right now. And so for me, I just had to switch the source of my dopamine in terms of I used to feed my dopamine by me giving advice and giving answers. Mm-hmm. The result was, it was hit or miss. So now the dopamine is when I can see somebody say, ooh, I had it. I need to think about this more. We're like, oh shit. Okay. I'm good. Like, okay, good. Like for me, it's that when I can see that all of a sudden they're examining their thinking and realize like, oh, got it. I didn't have to tell them anything. All I had to do was be curious, show interest in them. I'm not show, but like be interested in them. Ask curious questions, not investigative questions. So, I mean, Jen, you and I, the first conversation you and I ever had was a 3-hour conversation.
Yes.
I know it's been a while and it was so amazing. It's probably hard to like remember everything, but if you could ballpark percentage, how many of my questions were investigative versus curious?
Oh, I mean, I'd say 80 or 90% were curious, which is why I talked probably 75% of the call.
Yes, 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 yes. And we've had an amazing connection ever since then, right? And so, like, that's one of my case studies for like, what's the value? It takes longer. Like, yeah, freaking great things do. Great things take long. If you want something fast, go to McDonald's. It's not great, but you'll get a burger.
Yes, just I want to give a visual before you pull up comments, because I'm going to tell you how it's helped me. Emotional bungee jumpers has helped me look at it from this perspective. Is when someone comes to you, there's a good chance they're coming to you because they know you've dealt with the same issue, or they come to you because they know you can relate to what is wrong. So I just, there's people that will come to you because you have kids, or you're married, or you have siblings, or, you're in the same role, and stuff like that. So people will come to you because they know you can relate. You have to not go there, because when you put yourself in a spot like Jesse has a problem, and I can completely understand his problem because I have dealt with it and I feel the same way, we are here. We will not help Jesse solve his problem when we are here. We have got to completely disconnect from what I have experienced versus what he's experiencing, and look at it from this big kind of overview where I can see things he's not able to see. And so when I can remove myself from like, yes, I've been in that situation, but it's not about me. And I don't need to bring any of my baggage and my issues and my things that are bothering me into the conversation if it's about Jesse. If it's not about Jesse, then do what you got to do. But if it's about Jesse and I need to help Jesse get clear and find some clarity, I've got to remove myself and look at it from this bird's eye view to be able to go, well, tell me about this, Jesse, or help me understand this. Because the more that Jesse talks about his issue, I'm going to then be able to ask better questions. But also, and we have an example of even me getting Jesse to talk. He was like, oh crap, I never thought about that. But he was saying it because I was asking questions. And I mean, a specific one was, we were going through an exercise and Jesse was having a problem and I was asking questions, and he was like, oh, well, I never thought about doing that first before that. And then he made a huge life decision that he just didn't, he was so wound up in where he was, he couldn't look at it from the big picture.
Yeah. Yes. I remember that. It was my plan to start the business. I was like, well, I got to build my house, buy another house, and then I'll start the business. And you're like, why does it have to be in that order? I said, huh? He said, wouldn't it be faster to just buy a house first? I'm like, oh shit. Like I had never, right? Like, and that was a cure. You weren't guiding me. No. Like you just like, why does it have to be in that order? I'm like, son of a bitch. It doesn't. And boom, I mean, 60 days, I bought a house, quit my job, started the business. Like it was, and as a result of like just a curious question. You weren't trying to guide me and advise me and help me develop a 5-year plan to start my business. You just said, why does it have to be in that order? And that helped me. And also, I'm going to say this to people. I don't go to people that are always giving me answers and asking me boring ass questions. Like if you're asking me weak sauce questions and it's all about you, we're not going to talk very often, because like, I don't want to play that game. I don't need your advice. I'm not asking you for advice. When I need advice, I will ask. So anyways, throwing that out there, but we got some people.
Yes.
Mr. Jared. Good morning. Creeping in late. No problem, my friend.
We get to see him in Congress. He'll be at Congress.
He is going to be at Congress. When is that Congress? Huh?
We at LCI Congress, does he like week after next? Like,
yo,
you and I are going to be there too, though. So that's we'll talk about that towards the end.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. We got Miss Maria Martin. She says this time hits different in EST. Yeah. I thought you like lived in EST.
She lives in Central. She must be traveling for work. So or
got it.
It is a little earlier on the east side, right?
Yeah. No, later. It's
later. Oh, it does hit later. So she must be traveling the other direction.
Yes. And so we have, so Clyde makes 2 points. I'm going to read the second one. He says, I'm always looking at them he's talking about his apprentices, having clarity and understanding on why either the way they're doing the thing works or doesn't work. They could be a better, faster way. It's all about them learning. And so the question that he asked the apprentices is like, why are we doing it this way? And not what is that?
No.
Are you going to finish? Is that going to make you faster? That's super investigative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing it there? Let me understand why you're doing the things, which causes them to introspect and say, oof. And then there's like, oh, this dude does care. And I'm also, maybe there's a question in here that we'll hit on, but one thing I didn't talk about why it's difficult when I was picking on Adam it's a time constraint. That time constraint is going to create the conditions for us to default into investigative questions, but we'll get into that a little bit more. But I want to look, man, we got another old faithful Umud. How are you, man? I haven't heard from, man. It's like reunion day today.
It is.
So Umud says, if a conversation is thought is going from point A to B, speed limits, oh, I love the way he framed this. Speed limits will change based on the signs that I see along the way. Very nice. For me, it is important to realize where those invisible signs are. Nice, gangsta. And what his comment helps me understand is I think most people, or when I was in like, I got to get things done. I got to be the savior. I got to have all the answer. Like that was my mindset. Every conversation was A to B, like start, finish line as fast as possible. Whereas now it's not, there's no B. It's like if the conversation starts like, oh, we got a journey to go on and there's no time limit and there's no end. But if I frame it in A to B, contact, answer, save the day, guess what? I want to speed that up and I just default to investigative questions. So thank you for throwing that into my head.
I want to add, Jesse, because I literally, what he just said makes me, again, I'm going to keep bringing up emotional bungee jumpers because what we've also learned, and it's those invisible signs that I want to hone in on because I love the analogy, is the invisible signs are, I'm not going to say 100%, but most of the time, nonverbal cues.
Yes.
And so and in our exercise, as we're going through it, and I've seen it, and probably Sarah and Adam and Maria and all can talk about it. But like if Jesse asks me a question and I go, or he asks me a question and I'm just like, and I'm sure I'm going to say something. But if you watch people and how they respond to just your questions non-verbally, those are the invisible signs of I need to stop whatever the 6 questions I was going to ask because I thought I knew what the problem was or I thought I knew what they needed. In that moment, when someone does that, takes a big breath or they're like kind of struggling to respond, stay there.
Yes.
Listen to what they have to say and then let your next question or whatever it is next come from their response.
Yes. 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 Yeah. And I there's another little thing there that I don't want to assume everybody got it. By stay there, that means shut your damn mouth and let the silence sit. Like leave the silence alone, which I think again is another like insecurity, selfish thing. Oh, it's quiet. I need to explain my question. I need to give more context. I need to, which is about me. It's not about the person. Right now, if the person says like, bro, I got nothing. Are you still there? Like, oh shit. Okay. I misread it. You know, somebody asked me like, Jesse, how do you know, like, when did you start doing this? And how do you know that it started? Right. That kind of like this curious question, connecting with people. And I was like, oh man, I had to think about it. And I don't know the exact date, but I do know what changed. So before I started like asking curious questions and really focusing on connecting with the person in front of me, I don't remember people's faces. And I struggled remembering people's names. I don't remember their faces. because they were just another problem. They brought an issue, I gave them an answer. They brought an issue, I asked it, I got the data and the intel I needed, I gave them an answer. I didn't have to look at their face. But when I started focusing on like asking these curious questions and really connecting with the person in front of me, I remember names and I remember faces. Like it changed. Is that nuts or what?
That is awesome.
All right. So Maria's got some wisdom. Miss Maria says each person's journey is their own. Yes. Even if I've been through the same thing as someone, it doesn't mean we're going to handle it the same way or get to the same conclusion in the same amount of time. 100%. Right. And that's the thing. And I'm also going to, I'll be a little nice to people. I understand. I think a lot of times people want to give answers and solutions and jump to investigative questioning because they want to help. I think there's a part of that, right? Like they really do want to help. It's like, ooh, let me get it. Is this like my experience? Yes, it's like my experience. I overcame that. So here's how to overcome. Like I'm trying to be helpful, but what's at risk is that I'm severing connection, or at best having a very weak connection. What do you think, Jen?
Yes, I would, and I'm going to ask you a question because I think we're using a lot of words here. We're very familiar with them because we have had a lot of reps. And so I'm going to ask you the question, and because I have a couple of examples, and it comes to Maria's comment is, can you help define for the group what a leading question is? Because I know that specifically to what Maria is saying is when I know I can relate to them, when I know that I've been there. And I'm going to give an example, then I'm going to let you define it. But it's when I go, well, have you tried this? Mm-hmm. Or why haven't you done this? Yes. Those are where I've been there and I am just trying to fix their problem. But can you go into leading questions a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, those are two really good examples of them. But leading questions, here's how I think about them. One, I've already determined the path and the end of the conversation because I know the answer. So all of my questions are going to lead the person to the answer that I want to deliver. This is that kind of manipulative, make them think it's their idea. And so examples of that are like, we're going to go to lunch. I want to eat freaking McDonald's. Like, hey, Jen, call you out of the blue. Hey, Jen, what do you think about having McDonald's today? All right. I want you to say, that sounds great. Awesome. Right. So it's me. I mean, that's kind of a loosey-goosey example, but I am giving the information to get the answer that I want from you. Not curious. Difference is, hey, Jen, what do you want to have for lunch today? Mm-hmm. Right. Two very, very different questions. One is all about me. Leading questions are about me. What direction, what answer, what response do I want from you? Now, that's not to say, again, before people get their feelers hurt, I'm not saying leading questions are against the law and don't use them, because you bet your ass I use them. But what I'm saying is there's people out there that don't realize that that's all they do. And I think it's an excellent tool in the professional corporate space. It's a tool. It's not the answer all the time. And what's at risk is connection, because if I'm always leading people, here's how I feel when people ask me leading questions. I feel like they think I'm a dumbass. Like I am not intelligent enough to, one, know that they're leading me somewhere. Like I'm not a jackass. Mm-hmm. And two, that I'm not intelligent enough to kind of figure my own stuff out. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel. And so even like their best effort is to help me, but the only tool they have is leading questions. I don't want to play with them anymore. And so that's the risk, right? And now it's not everybody's as sensitive as me. Like for real, like I'm very sensitive to leading questions, and because in my brain it's very close to passive aggressive communication. Because if you're gonna tell me something, you want to lead me somewhere, just tell me what the hell you want. Right? Like don't. So anyways, did I answer your question in terms of—
You did. And so one, thank you for that. And I want to, what I heard Jesse say is leading questions are a tool in your toolbox. And if that is the only tool you have, you need to expand your toolbox.
Yeah.
Because yes, there's a time and a place for it, but there's also so many other questions that will help you in your leadership role or in your conversations or in your focus on building connection. And so it's just like, again, growing up, we had to write essays, for English, but there were different types of essays. There were different, you had to take a point of view and write based on, I'm trying to make an argument, or I'm trying to give information, or I'm trying to different things. Like, it's the same thing. We're just now at a place to where we're in rooms where we can completely guide the conversation. We know where we want to go. We know what we want to do. And we're in positions of power. I'm just going to tell you that, where we can really manipulate what's happening. And we've got to be very careful and very responsible with that. And if we are doing things like we're talking about today and asking questions, or when we're in a position where someone's asking us for advice and we do it the right way, we're yes, we can help, but we're also getting them to grow and evolve and understand that, hey, I can do this. I can fix this. I have an idea. I have an answer. And it wasn't me planning it in their head.
Yes. It's beautifully said, Jennifer Lacey. I'm getting excited. Jeremy, yes, right. That's a huge fact. Listen to understand instead of listening to respond. 100%. And for real, folks, like, if this is something you struggle with, emotional bungee jumpers will help you break that freaking habit, or rather develop the skill of listening to understand. It takes reps. It takes intentional focus and practice. Maria is giving some good examples, right? She practices with her daughter. What's your plan there? How did that work out? It provides space for her to explore her day with introspection, retrospect, instead of ideas, right? Like, you should try this, you should try that, you should try this. Like, no, I don't should.
And make sure and how did that work out versus how did that work out? Like, there's even how you're asking the question sometimes.
Well, and so again, that takes us back to motive, right? Like, if my motive is to fix you, people will feel that. Yes. And I can ask an open-ended question, but if I do like Adam's saying here, and I show up with a hammer and a plunger, the hammer is leading questions, the plunger is investigative questions. I'm here to work on something. Mm-hmm. That does not demonstrate care, right? If I show up with a cup of coffee and croissants, like, oh, this is an invitation to something interesting. And so investigative questions, again, he's saying it's like a plunger, push versus pull. I think it's all push. Investigative questions, me pushing my intent and my motives on you. Leading questions is me pushing my intent and my motive on you. It has nothing to do with you. It's all about me. And like Mr. Russell's here.
Right? Good morning.
Everybody. He says, I love the toolbox reference. Know when to use the right questions. Nugget. Absolutely. So kind of, but it ties to Adam's comment, is leading questions. It's a tool. Use it in the appropriate context. Investigative questions are a tool. Use them in the appropriate context. Mm-hmm. Curious, open-ended, like curious questions about the human being, the person in front of you, are a tool, and there's an appropriate setting for them.
So I have a question for you. So there's a chance they may walk away without an answer.
Uh-huh.
And that's okay.
For me, it is. And that's a discipline to build, though, right? Which, again, how many times in the emotional bungee jumpers call, like at the very beginning, how frustrating was it to open up these problems and not have answers at the end of them?
Yes, huge. Because you're like, I'm used to people just giving me what I need, and all you did is make me have to think more.
Mm-hmm. That's the point. And so again, the discipline that I've had to build is I don't have to I have to learn to be okay with not solving the problem, which, when I'm honest with myself, I almost never solve other people's problems.
Why, Jesse? Why do you not solve their problems?
Because they got to do the freaking work.
And they're not your problems.
They're not my problems. And so I think people need to be honest with themselves, especially the answer givers, the solutionizers, the people that like are always asking leading questions and investigative questions and all that stuff. They believe that they've solved the problem. It makes them feel like they solved the problem. But the likelihood is after that conversation ended, they went on to their own world and that other person's still swimming in that bullshit. So you didn't solve anything. What's the point? Right? Now, which takes us to our next question is does your question build a bridge or a wall? Which I think we've hammered on this, and I want to make it clear, like investigative questions, leading questions, that stuff that's about me, not about the person that I'm dialoguing with. I am saying those build a wall.
Yeah.
What do you think, Jen?
No, I do, because if I am coming to you and your questions are all about you or getting what you need so you can walk away and feel better, then the wall for me is I'm not going to keep coming to you. Like you're putting something up to where we're not connecting, and I need someone to understand where I'm coming from and help me figure it out. And we've realized that means let me figure it out. And
yes.
When I come to you, our default is they're coming to me because there's something that I have that they need and they want. And in our minds, we default to the solution. That is what they're coming to me for. And if you can get out of that and kind of back up a little bit and really understand they're coming to me because I listen. They're coming to me because I care. They're coming to me because they are going to let me talk. They're going to make me feel heard. And when I leave, I'm going to feel better. That does not mean I may walk away with a solution. Right.
Now, so back to kind of the tool idea, because I've had this happen. I was coaching somebody and he finally was like, Jess, can you stop the Jedi bullshit and tell me what to do? Because I don't know what to do. I'm like, oh, and I missed it, right? Because I was so, evolved in my open-ended questions. I wasn't paying attention to he was really struggling. And so I'm like, got it. And so I didn't give him the answer. I said, here's a few options. Mm-hmm. How do these land with you? Which helped him get unstuck, but ultimately taking this into a professional context and the next question, which is when you're in get it done mode, what kind of questions do you ask? And so in the professional space, like in work, corporate space, we're a lot of times we don't have the time, right? We things need to be fixed. And so the way I respond to things, and actually Sean put together a beautiful spectrum. I should have had it ready, like the coaching scale, which doing and telling people what to do, that's going to happen when you have zero period, no time. Coaching, asking curious questions, you got to have time to do that. It takes longer. And then everything in between. And so maybe the question here is when you're in get it done mode, Omniverse, what kind of questions do you ask? Now, what I'm going to say, Jen, is very few people even are still trying to, what the hell are y'all talking about? Investigative, open-ended. I don't think we spend enough time, and maybe this is the recommendation to all the no BS tribe out there, is start paying attention to the types of questions you ask. Do you even know if you're asking leading questions, investigative questions, closed-ended questions, open-ended? Do you even know? Right? I mean, you asked me earlier, can you give people a description of what those things are? Because a lot of times people say, what does that mean? What's the difference? Because I'm asking questions. And so maybe that's the first step. But Kirby says, and she was there, OG, right, of the very first emotional bungee jumpers call. She's like, man, it was so difficult, even with the reps, because we weren't, and that's one of the rules of the community. We're not here to solve problems. we're here to build the skill of connecting with the human being in front of us.
Yep.
Because I'm assuming that everybody out there, or everybody, I know everybody in the group, they know how to solve problems. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to equip people with another tool so that they don't become the easy button for everybody, because that's the other problem, is when you're always giving answers and solutionizing, asking leading questions, telling people what to do. Guess what?
You're the person. You're the person. They need you for everything.
Yes. And what does that mean? That means you don't have time to do your shit because people are disrupting you all the time. So
can I answer this question, Justin?
Please.
It's not the normal answer.
So tell me.
Yeah. So when I'm in I'm going and I'm doing what I need to do, and someone approaches me, they need something, they're asking me for whatever. I'm gonna pull this out of your toolbox, because this is a question that you use, and I think it's hard for us because it doesn't move us forward. It makes us make sure we know what they're asking. So one of the tools, so a question that I use that I got from Jesse, because he used it on me all the time, is, hey, Jennifer, I need this, or did it, hey, can you help me with this? Or I'm struggling with this. So what I heard you say was, this is what's happening, this is what you need, and this was your ask. And it helps me get clear. No, Jennifer, that's not, or it helps me get clear on what the next direction is, or what the next question is, or what the next ask is. And we don't stop to understand what they're asking for. And for me, they're like, I know, but that doesn't really help. It's a question. It's let's make sure we're on the same page. Because how much time, Jesse, and you and I've talked about this, do we go down this path, and in the end, they're like, well, that wasn't really what I was looking for. How much time did we waste? How much time did we waste of theirs? And they're still not, we didn't add any value.
Right. So
to me, that is a huge question early when they come to me with something. So here's what I heard you say is that what I heard you say? Or, I want to clarify, this is what you're asking of me. Like, those type of questions early are huge for me now, because they make sure that when I do help them, I know I'm getting them somewhere that they want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll thank you, Jen. But it reminds me of something, right? There's a trip hazard there, because some people are going to say, oh, that's a good one, put it in their back pocket, and then they're going to just ask it. Right?
Correct.
Like, people are going to do that. I know people that do that. So tell me more. And what else? Like, son of a bitch. Like, what's the point of this? Now, I'll say, here's what I understood. How far off base am I?
Yep.
Because I know what my brain does when I'm listening to, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay, I want to make sure, like, I really need to, like, did I receive what you were intending for me to receive? That's why I do that.
Yep.
How far off base am I is like, okay, maybe I went off in the left field. So tell me how far, so you can add the clarity or whatever. Like, instead of, I need details and investigative data. Like, here's what I understood. Is that what I was supposed to understand, so that we can continue the conversation forward, right? And so it helps reflect back to you, like, oh shit, this dumbass don't understand what I said. I got to say it slower for him. Good, because I don't this is what I understood. But main point is, or another thing you pointed out that I do, I'm like, I'll just say, I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm confused, Jennifer. And again, don't get offended when someone says that to you. Like, if you just communicated something to someone and they're confused, like, you need to rephrase or reshape or rethink about how you're communicating, because what's in our head, and I know there's a lot in my head, I know there's a lot in Jesse's head. If I, in my mind, am articulating this exactly the way that I feel is right, and Jesse is not receiving it, that is not a Jesse problem. That's a me problem.
Yes. And I think, as the listener, we need to get better. Like, again, some people will never say, I'm confused, I don't understand.
I know.
Why? Because they're afraid of being judged for not understanding. Oh man, we look. Oh, this is freaking amazing. So Maria drops some wisdom, right? Do not do for a child what they can do for themselves. Also good for adults, right? 100%. Because when you end up building dependency, that doesn't help anybody. We got Miss Desiree.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to see you here both. And I want to remind you folks out there in the Omniverse, drop your comments because we're about to do the randomizer here in 5 minutes. We got a, what is that? Oh, okay. So we got Darren says, red one, ensuring the other side is understood is so much better than trying to emphasize it over and over again. Oh my God.
Yes.
You know, I thank you, Darren. Here's one of my favorite things that happened, and you know, would help me elevate my game in terms of like asking better questions. When I ask somebody a question or say, "Man, I didn't understand," and they say the same thing louder, it's like still not helping. I didn't say I didn't hear. I said I don't understand.
Let me say it slower, so that it can resonate better.
Yes. And which is, you know, it's one of those funny things. But I will say, so folks, like I'm being critical about how we want to. Here's what I want. I want you people out there in the Omniverse, No BS Tribe member. I need you to be aware of how your questions are betraying you, because I believe that the No BS Tribe members want to connect and serve people in a deep and meaningful manner. Mm-hmm. But when you're always coming with your hammer of leading questions and your plunger of investigative questions, you are underserving the person in front of you, because you may or may not know it. You're focused on your needs to have the data and give the right freaking answer. Weak sauce. Please examine, have an understanding, start thinking about how are you engaging with other people? Are you focused on the human being in front of you, and are you connecting with them? One of the things that may be breaking, or maybe another way to think about it, is one of the things that will enhance your connection or the rate at which you connect is being curious and asking questions about them and what they're thinking about, what they're feeling, what they're understanding, or not the information you need to validate the freaking genius answer that you have. We got Google and we got GPT for that bullshit. Like, come on, man, do better. And sorry, Jen, sorry.
That's okay. We've got more people jumping in. So yeah, I want to give shout outs to people that they keep coming, and it's making my heart so happy this morning.
Oh, like this guy? Mr. Will,
who knows how to create connection.
Oh man, he's freaking certainly. Again, like 3 years, Will's been supportive, been a part of the tribe. How you doing, my friend? He's in Brazil. He's coming back. Glad to see you, brother. And then we got Dr. Alejandra. She's good morning. The power of the right questions for true communication. Great skill to hone, 100%. And I want to do a correction, because I think this gets people like locked up.
Okay.
The right question. I think that handcuffs a lot of people. Like, I want to learn how to ask the right questions. Like, I don't know that there is a right question, and it might get you locked up, right? It's more about
I think it's because when you're talking, Jesse, if I'm listening to the words coming out of your mouth and I'm connecting with you, I don't know the right question until you say something.
Right. You got to hear it. Or, I mean, there's let me get all the investigative questions, the data, the intel, so that I can choose the path and direction, so that I can ask the right question to get the answer that I want. We're not in court, bro. Like, we're not in court. Come on. Oh, look at this. Validating your own genius versus curious connection.
Yes.
Gangsta. Gang, that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to give you advice to know that I'm a genius. I already know. But yeah, I think that's what I think a lot of people that's what we're doing is if I give you advice, if I counsel you and advise you and give you answers or lead you to the conclusion that I've already determined is where you need to be, that makes me feel good about me. But I don't serve you in the way I best could serve you.
Correct.
Oh my good. All right. So I think it's randomizer time, Jen.
We do. I saw Heather just jumped in right before.
Oh,
I know, right?
Yeah. Heather. Yes, do more listening and repeat how they are saying. That makes people feel heard and seen. I'm going to tell you again, this is another one of those trip hazards. I'm very critical about this idea of freaking active listening. I think it's good, right? Instead of always having the answer and telling people what to do, it's a step up, but it's like middle school level. That's not right. Active listen. Oh, okay. This is what I heard. Like people know when they're being handled, man. So yes, repeat back to what they're saying because summary helps. Like, okay, yeah, you're connected. We're listening. But if that's all you're doing, you got a lot of work to do.
Yes.
Again, that's not an accusation or a judgment on you, Heather. I want to challenge people to think beyond, well, I do active listening. I mirror back to them. I repeat and summarize. Like, yeah, I know. And what else, bro? Like, come on, step it up.
Well, and we're going to talk about, we're going to give a little bit of shout out for LCI. I know you're going to do randomizer, LCI Congress in a minute, but we do have a keynote, Chris Voss, who is a former FBI negotiator, hostage negotiator. And a lot of his points, some of it are these little like nuggets in your toolbox, but it's a very much what's happening on the other end that dictates what my next step is. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, and he's kind of one of my heroes. So it is randomizer time. All right, here we go, folks.
So if your name pops up, you are going to get a free 1-month subscription to Emotional Bungee Jumpers and Cultivation.
Oh, Trisha, yeah, I like it. All right, Miss Trisha, I am excited. I'll get you the calendar invite. Actually, I'll get everybody the calendar invite because I got to do that shit. And next week is kind of like my housekeeping week. So I'll get caught up on all the kind of administrative loose ends and add to my list of what to hand off to my amazing assistant because clearly I ain't having that shit done. Look, Adam's feelings are hurt. The randomizer's broken. I love you, bro. All right, Jen. So you brought up Chris Voss and this LCI thing. What the hell's going on?
Okay, so LCI is October 20th through the 24th. So it's a week long. Everybody's coming to Arlington, and it's Lean Construction Institute. So it's all the lean stuff that Jesse and I kind of swim in most of the time. But there's a conference it's their annual conference for the entire week. We're doing golf. We're doing learning days, which Jesse is going to be leading a session, a full day session on SQI. Then we have breakout sessions. We have 2 amazing keynotes and Gemba Day. Like it's literally a 5-day, just come and just get immersed in everything lean and people and, just this industry and how do we make it better? Was that a good summary?
I think it is a good summary. I mean, we've got you are the co-chair. Let's not forget about that.
Yes, with Keon Zandy, correct?
And Keon Zandy. So we're going to have a lot of people. And I don't know. Is No BS with Jen and Jess making?
Oh my gosh, Jesse, we haven't even talked about that yet. So one of the things that Keon and I wanted to do that we saw there was a need out there, and we thought it would be a really cool way to bring that to Congress. So this is the first time they've done it. And so they are doing kind of a podcaster's booth at Congress. And so on Wednesday and Thursday, I think we have like 7 or 8 podcasters, like industry construction podcasters, live stream, things like that. And we have invited them to come, and during different breakout sessions, they will be able to set up in that booth and do live streams. They can pull people in and do some interviews. They can talk about things that they're doing in the industry. Adam Hoots, one of those people. And so they get to come and kind of just celebrate their podcast and what they're trying to do for the industry. All of these people, every one of them are people focused.
Yeah.
Every one of them they're making intentional efforts to focus on the people part of construction. How do we make the culture better? How do we take care of people? How do we improve our industry by improving the way we treat people? And it's going to be so cool. I'm beyond, and you and I have one of the sessions, so we get to be there and talk about whatever we want to talk about. Pull some cool people in during one of those breakout sessions.
Yeah. So come on by. If you're going to be at Congress, I mean, it's a week, like less than 10 days away.
Yes.
Come to the booth. If you're going to be there, drop a little cowboy hat in the comments. Jen's going to be on stage a whole bunch. I got a whole big giant full day workshop, sweat equity improvement that Jen and Adam and Sean, like it's going to be, they're going to be co-facilitating the workshop with me.
Well, and a happy hour that I'm sure our tribe members are invited to, correct?
Oh yeah, there is going to be the SQI happy hour on Tuesday evening in Arlington, which of course tribe members, you're out there. And I said this yesterday, I got to say it again. I got to create the calendar invite and send it out to people. And so if you don't get the calendar invite, it ain't because I don't love you. It's because I wasn't going to do the damn work to find your email address, right? Like you're invited. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to have to figure that out, how to make sure to like not hurt people's feelings, but I want people there. It's going to be at the Hearsay. So just remember that Hearsay happy hour Tuesday, 6 p.m. On the 20 or 21st. So come on, man. Like, don't be scared. It's going to be so awesome. Like, we got some cowboy hats, Adam Hoots. We got Miss Heather saying, yeehaw. I like it. All right, Jen. So Trisha, I owe you. I'll send you the invite. We had a lot of good conversation about this questioning thing. And so, I mean, I'm wondering, did we lose anybody? Is somebody saying like, what in the shit are y'all talking about? And so folks, like, if this is really twisting your brain or just way off the radar, like, let us know. Maybe a different way to ask this. How could we have made this clearer? This idea. And so I'm going to attempt to like clarify. The reason I'm hammering on this, and it's something that I hammer on all the time, is because connection. Because I believe, specifically in the construction industry, the biggest problem, like the root cause of a lot of the mental health, substance abuse stuff that we're dealing with, is because of a lack of connection. Like, sure, there's a lot of people all in the same place, but nobody knows or has any connection to each other. And so, because we're always walking by, telling people what to do, asking leading questions, asking closed-ended questions, nobody's investing any time in connecting with all the freaking human beings that are on a job site. And so it creates this sense of, well, whatever, loneliness or nobody values me, being unseen, like all of these things that nobody really enjoys. And I know we have amazing leaders in the group that do engage with a lot of people, but they may not, like they may be playing the middle school game. And I want to help you understand that, bro, you got some work to do so that you can connect with people better, so that you can enhance the quality of life of the folks around you, not solve their problems, enhance their experience on this planet. That's where I'm coming from. Is that too woo-woo, Jennifer Lacey?
It's not too woo-woo. I love the challenge on one, like, hey, did we lose you? I'm going to make an assumption based on all the engagement we got today, that my ask of you is, if we didn't lose you and this kind of drew you in, like, what else would you like us to dig into? Like, what did we talk about today that maybe we touched a little bit on something that you're like, man, I want to know more about this. So we actually want that also. So if there are some things on there that we could dig into, because today's conversation is like the space Jesse and I live in every day, all day. And we want to be able to continue to help others learn and think about these skills. And so what else can we talk about?
Yes. Or how about I just dropped the link to the after party in all the chats. Come to the after party.
Yes.
and let's have a dialogue about that. Like, what else? I mean, if y'all can't tell, I obsess about this type of subject, the communication, the question, the coaching, the connectivity. I love that stuff. And so come to the after party. I dropped the link on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on the LinkedIn, so that we can get some feedback, learn from you, or just connect if we haven't connected in a very long time, because there's a lot of freaking people that we've seen over the years that all seem to come in. It's funny, right? Like they all came in today, and at the top of the call, it's like, we don't have a lot of people that like RSVP'd.
I told you, I said we have a really low number. I'm interested to see who shows up today, and I'd be danged if like all these names popped in that I'm just like, we didn't even see them.
Yes. All right, Jen. So what do you say we wrap it up? I know you got some awesome stuff to do with my BFF, Miss Alex, out there.
Yes. She's performing today. Super excited. So I will not be in the after party, but Jesse will be able to handle it. It'll be fine. And I'm super excited for what's next. And
Congress. So folks, hope to see you out there. I know Dr. Ale is going to be there, and Kirby is going to be there in spirit. Heather is going to be there. Hoots is going to be there. He's got some presentations. He's got the podcast booth. So folks, if y'all are like, for real, man, just come on by. We'll be there the 20th through the end of the week of that week. All right. It is time for the TikTok dance, Jennifer Lacey.
Are you ready?
I am.